again, I'd like to welcome everyone to the City of Jacksonville work session and council meeting. I'll ask you all to please stand, and while we have the invocation delivered by Pastor Velma Thomas, then please remain standing. We have a special guest for a pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you in this hour for allowing us to come into your presence. We thank you, Lord, for your goodness and your mercy that you have towards us. We thank you, Lord, for a new day. And tonight, Heavenly Father, as we gather, we ask that you bless this council. Bless the police chief and the police, the firemen, and everyone who works within the city of Jacksonville to help others. We praise you. Lead and guide them to make the right decisions for the city. We pray for the mayor, and we ask, Lord, that you would put your arms around us. Keep us safe from all harm and danger. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We have a special guest today. His name is Blue Moore. He's a fourth grader at Kiddystone Elementary, and his teacher is Miss Dryden. And we're so proud of him taking time off from his spring break to come do this tonight. Thank you. Come on over here.
Ready, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We raising up leaders.
No. All right, roll call, please.
Bonus points or something.
Mr. Taylor,
Here.
Mr. A. Green,
Here.
Mr. Wilson,
Here.
Ms. Laster,
Here.
Mr. M. Green.
Here.
All right.
We'll get used to it. Maybe.
Item 5 is proclamations. We had one for American Red Cross and also Arbor Day. I do not believe there's anyone here to accept those, so we'll move on to the work session portion. Item A is acceptance of the minutes. Any questions concerning the minutes that were sent out? All right, hearing that, move on to item B, Eastwood Community Safe Room.
I'll give you a quick update on it. I think I've given you something in front of you that you should have. This Eastwood Storm Shelter, we've been working with it now probably close to about 7 years, trying to get it done. The share of Eastwood is 75% cost, 75% is FEMA, the other 25% is the city's cost. Because it took so long to get it approved for funding, it was about 5 years before they approved it, we had to go back and get the construction costs re-estimated. And it required us to ask for an additional $62,000, in fact, $62,112.17. That amendment was approved January 17th of 2024. So now the total cost for this project is $393,680.65. The federal share of it is $295,260.49. And then the city share is $98,420.16. Now, at the time that they approved that amendment, they did not approve, they did not change the period of performance. So they left the period of performance as October of '24. And we knew that wasn't going to work. It wasn't enough time to get it done. But we could not submit an amendment to that request for the extension. We couldn't do that until 90 days before the performance of period date. So we submitted that. It was July 17th of 2024. We did not get that extension approved until February the 3rd, 2025. So the extension now is approved. However, we still now have to figure out, and the timeline on it, the good news was the timeline now is December 23rd of 2026. So we have the time to get it done. I think you all approved the 15 parking spaces at the last meeting. So now we have sat down, Josh went back to Mark Burns. Mark has given him the date of April the 1st that he should have the construction designed to him on April the 1st. So given that, you know, it's got to go off to TTL to look at the civil plans, and then our planning and building as well as the fire marshal will also review the construction plan. So the soonest time it can get to the planning commission is April the 17th of 2025. And if we can get it to the planning commission on that date, that means the first time you all will get to approve it now would be at the meeting on the 28th of April. So backing into all of that, and we used the timeline that was developed before. It took about a month for them to advertise it for bid. And then it takes about 3 months for them to procure it, to find a contract and be ready to get the work started. So with all of that, we kind of figured that it'll be March of 2026, and we gave it not, I think the original was 6 months, we gave it this time 7 months, say for the construction to be completed. So that puts it at March of 2026, and of course the deadline would be December of 2026, so we should have it done in plenty of time. Now I know the concern is what happens if the project goes over, and you know we did submit $98K in the budget for 2025, so the money is there. Generally, if a project goes over, then we go back to FEMA, request additional funds. If FEMA approve it, then FEMA picks up 75% of that cost, and we pick up the 25%. Well, Josh has already had a call with Alabama EMA, and they are basically telling us they don't have additional funds available. So what we got to hope for is that when it does go out to bid, that it will come in under the total cost that we have available here, under this $393K. Now, the good news about that is, you know, we can use in-kind work. In-kind work can help us offset our local match costs. So, and I think just in a conversation today, it's possible that Stanley can do some work for us with the parking lot. It is possible, I guess, Mayor, with the lines that's got to be run, that maybe we can get that at cost. So we've got the ability to perhaps do some things that can, say, help us keep it under the amount. And I think the requirement also for the parking lot really is just the ADA parking. So although we have approved 15, you know, if push come to shove, we do have parking up at the Eastwood School that you can also use that to help hopefully kind of get the costs within the budgeted amount.
Do they not add a percentage or plus or minus when they do projects? Or is it they're gonna figure it best they've got, and then whatever happens, happens, and it goes over the city of
Yeah, I would imagine that, you know, that part of it need to be considered when you come up with the cost estimate, because they based it on that cost estimate. But if it does go over, like I said, normally, you know, they will work to get it approved, but we've been told already that, and I'm sure just with everything that's going on, they just don't have additional funds that they would be able to give us, at least at this point in time. But we will not know that until it goes off the bid as to how much. Hopefully it'll come under and not over.
All right, answer me this question. May the 30th, you bid advertisements.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you're giving, what, 2 months in there for people to place bids?
Really kind of 3 months from May 30th to the 30th of August.
I mean, is that what you have to do, or
No.
can we set our own rules, like, you got 30 days, we want to see some numbers?
Yeah, and I think we just used the timeline that we did before when we sent the extension letter up. We actually had a milestone date of about 3 months for them to get it to procurement and let it.
Yeah, that's not only the bid opening, that's all the way to signing the contract.
Mm-hmm.
That's reviewing, and yeah.
Right, that's all of that.
So we're looking at 98,000 probably plus. before the dust settles, with the way the economy is and material prices
And it'll be, you know, dependent upon too, how much we can get done in-house. that can
in-house.
Kinda help.
Are you
with
saying
some costs.
in-house, or is that, can that be any construction company that wanted to give work? It has to be in-house from the city clerk's nodding her head in my comments, so.
Yeah. The,
Saying somebody,
You have a contractor that wants to volunteer,
For no cost,
or
So
some
he
of
wants
it.
to do $10,000, $20,000 worth of work.
Or we have someone that wants to sponsor part of it,
Yeah.
donate $10,000 to have their name put on the side of the building.
what would have to happen then for a sponsor or a donation of funds would be that funds would have to be donated to the city for the use of the Eastwood Community Safe Room, and then those funds would go towards the cost of the project. It
What I'm
would-
saying, all right, let's play. We got X company here that's gotten the bid. And old B come down here and says, look, we'll send our tractors and stuff over there, and we'll do the equivalency of $30,000 worth of work. Is that permissible?
For no cost.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're gonna do it for no cost, but you're probably gonna need to determine that before you bid it out. Because then when you bid out the project, which is part that.
You can't do it after it's bid out.
Yeah.
what you're
Because
saying.
once it's bid out,
So that work's
it's
gotta be
under
done.
contract with that contractor. And then, like I said, any funds that get donated, they need to be donated on a little memo that it's for the Eastwood Community Safe Room. That way it can go to that line item for that project. But then that money, at that point, becomes city money, so it goes towards.
But you're saying they have to exchange cash. This person may say, I wanna do $30,000
But once
work.
the project is bid out, then that project, the whole project in its whole belongs to that contractor, because you're signing a contract with that contractor to do the whole project. So then at that point, it would be between that contractor and.
Okay,
the
so
other
if they don't
person.
want
But
cash, they can
But
do
they're
it.
still gonna wanna get paid, the contractor's still gonna wanna get paid. What he said he was gonna
Maybe,
pay
maybe
for,
not.
regardless if it doesn't work. So that's why you have to get the donated work pulled out of the project before you bid it out, so that way it's.
yeah. Because the other part of that too, Terry, is the in-kind cost, it's gotta be documented and sent to FEMA, and FEMA would have to approve it,
Yeah,
so.
FEMA would have,
There's a lot.
what would that take another 7 years, so,
Yeah.
ain't that right?
And also with this, you know, that, you know, it's handled as a reimbursement, meaning the work's gotta get done, the city pays the bill, and then we send, the canceled check to FEMA.
That's another
And then
Thank you for all that
reimburse.
you've done, this is
Yeah, I like the
super.
time.
Well, yeah, I think Ms. Burke finally got tired of me asking weekly, so she give us all the information that we need, so I do appreciate
And
that.
and I think for anybody who has kept up with it, this is sometimes how long it takes through bureaucracy to get something done. When it's great, well intentions to provide something of public safety, benefit to the community. It's not just go build something unless you've got the cash to just go build it on your own. We're trying to leverage that 75% of federal money, and this costs how much in time and energy? And the architect reimbursement so far, and you know,
Yeah, he's only gotten, in fact, he submitted 16.5. We've reimbursed him, I think, about 3K. We're waiting on 13K to come back from FEMA to be able to, to finish paying. Yeah. So it's a
Thank you, thank you.
process.
So we,
the tape is red.
Thank you, Ms. Burke.
You're welcome.
Thank you, great job.
Red.
All right, item C is, it's listed as communications. Ben and I had a conversation this past week on our push notification app. You know, was it getting any traction? Where's it going? What's it doing? And Ben had some ideas about, just share your ideas.
Sure.
Thank you.
One of the things that we're dealing with right now with the app is that we don't really have a way to find out if it's effective. We can tell that about 2,000 people have installed it. That could have been one person who installed it 2,000 times, and I couldn't tell you any different than if it was 2,000 people. I believe we're spending between $4,000 and $6,000 a year in maintenance on the app. For that money, we could probably use it more effectively with some other services that have approached us. There are two in mind. One of them is called TextMyGov. The other is Civic Plus, who we already do business with through our archiving service for social media. And they're also the folks who purchased the website that we had made by Municode. The services are fairly similar. They both intend to get information to people by phone. TextMyGov wants to send it out as text messages. There's a limit to how many texts you can send per year. You have to buy basically batches of 50,000 texts or more, but you can run out pretty quickly. They estimate that their service could get us around 6,000 phone numbers that we would be able to text without anybody necessarily signing up for them to send out emergency notices. We've had some conversation about using this for marketing. I don't think that's necessarily going to work for us because 3 or 4 events we're already halfway through. If we're texting 6,000 phone numbers, a year's allotment, and they're about $1,000 for new batches of text messages. Civic Plus came and talked to me though. They have a sort of different service. The residents would have to sign up for the service. It would be a lot like using the EMA's emergency service where you tell them, I want you to text me, email me, send me, give me a phone call when something happens. We would have that same capability. The downside may be that we can't necessarily reach people in an emergency unless they've signed up, unless we're sending something out through the IPAWS service. Y'all know what IPAWS stands for. I think it's Integrated Public Awareness or Public Alert and Warning System, but basically that would allow us to get messages out in front of people. The thing that this could do for us is give us some options though, because there's no limit to how many of those texts or phone calls we can send out. We could use that first of all for marketing. If people say that they're interested in being signed up for a text service that announces Parks and Rec events or Jack's Fest, they'd be able to do that, and we would know that we weren't necessarily pestering anybody who didn't want to hear about those things. We'd also be able to send out alerts in specific areas of the city, say that the water goes out on a specific part of Church Avenue. We can target people who have signed up in that area so that only they have to hear about it. We don't want to give people message fatigue, which I think is something we kind of deal with right now. The city app, unfortunately, will tell you about a storm, no fooling, maybe around 30 or 40 times per storm. That's something that we, I think a lot of us have probably turned off our notifications on that if we had them to begin with and have started looking somewhere else for it. Something else that we can do with that service though, since we don't, again, have any cap on it, we could start sending employees text messages, or however they prefer to find out that, say, City Hall is going to be closed, or there's a tornado coming. If you are a department head, report to your station. It gives us a lot of options for how we can use those things. It will translate what we write into other languages for us. A voice will speak for us when you send out a phone call, so it's very similar to what you would hear if your kids are at Kitty Stone or Jacksonville High School, but it would give us the ability to do that too. And one other use case that they put forward to me was that you can use it for surveying people, which is something that's really exciting to me because right now I don't have a really effective way of asking people in the city, what do you think about this thing that we're doing? How effective are we getting with it? And another major difference from what we've got with the app right now is that, again, I can't tell you who still has that app, but if you signed up for the service, I'd be able to see how many people are actively receiving our messages. So we'd be able to have a better way of kind of gauging what that money is doing for us each year. So between those two services, it's kind of hard to argue with unlimited messaging as opposed to a specific limit. Maybe the only caution that I have is that Civic Plus, they are the company who told us it would cost 20 grand to update the design of our website. I don't know that they're necessarily always going to have user-friendly choices that we're going to be able to get along with, like the website that we previously bought. TextMyGov is kind of a smaller, scrappier company, but they can't give us as much. So I thought you guys might be interested in hearing about that. Maybe we can at least start looking in that direction. If you like the idea of that, but neither of those options sound good, there may be somebody else out there who's the right fit for us. But both of those services are $6,000 a year. TextMyGov could grow to be more depending on how much we use it.
Would, the constituents that have already signed up for our original one, would they have to delete the app and then do this one?
This would be something new. They would
Totally
need to come
different.
to our website and sign up for it. And I believe they would create a portal where we could send people to sign up. They've told me that they'll do a lot of the work of marketing it for us, so they'll create the materials, they'll set us up basically to have everything we need to start pushing it to people and letting them know about it. But a big case, I think, is going to be if we can really leverage it into making it really useful. I think people will talk about how useful it is. Unfortunately, the app as we have it right now is great for reference. It can tell you how to get in touch with people on the website. But our website's already reactive. It can work with a cell phone to show you things at the right size, and I don't know if we can necessarily make a huge case for it being separate. The only thing it doesn't do, the only thing it does that the website doesn't do is send push notifications. But there's no way to tell who's getting them.
Have you thought about checking with other, early on, other cities our size and find out what they do, which ones they use, what they recommend?
There are a few in our area. I think Pell City uses TextMyGov. They've got a couple that are local to us. I haven't talked to Civic Plus about who else is using it, but I'd be happy to.
I know the Gov app is what we're using. I think police and fire have a interface.
They're all tied in together.
I went back in because I remember seeing there are public channels, and I don't know the back end about how that works, but there are they do provide some for push channels, categories of those NWS alerts that might not be. Yeah, you're going to get it 100 times because anytime something changes with NWS, you're going to get it. But it might not be geo-fenced for closures, but community events, parks and recreation events, public library events, community events, non-emergency traffic, road work, general emergency alerts, police, fire. It looks like there are some segmentations and push public channels.
Yeah.
Are we using that, or are we?
We do. One of the issues with using that is it's all still going through push notifications. I couldn't speak to Android phones right now. It's been a while since I've had one, but my iPhone, the easiest way to shut off one kind of notification I don't like from the app is to shut off every kind. And a user who's not necessarily savvy may not realize they've turned off everything when they've turned off one particular thing. Another facet to this that kind of grabs my attention is right now we're very smartphone owner centric. I can't get in touch with somebody who has a flip phone. So being able to text or especially give them phone calls, you can have a landline that I can call. That may make a difference for somebody, and that might be worth it too.
When we're going to conference in May, they usually have a lot of vendors with different things like that, so that would be something we could look into.
I bet you'll see these guys, and you'll probably see the people who set up next to them. So let me know if you find anybody who looks like they might interest you.
Okay.
But any other questions, y'all?
I think education is the key to making it more efficient, because everybody don't really, they have a phone, but they don't really know how to do it, and I think just by putting in different places, like helping them, like at the library, the parks and recreation, just places where people go, the senior center, and helping them to get trained, to use it, and I think that would be helpful.
So yeah, actually that is one other part of this. Both of these companies are willing to give us training so that any one of us, however many people we want to assign to be able to use it, they don't charge by the seat number, so we don't have to worry about extending the number of staff who have access.
Right.
So we could get, say, Andrea from the senior center to come and work with us. She could be connecting directly to her seniors.
Right.
In ways that the app, again, still works, but most of the seniors that I know who, they've got their flip phones, they don't really like smartphones. Everybody knows how a text message works right now, so it's pretty reliable. Everybody knows how a phone call works, and if I can give it to you in Spanish, I mean, that's just something I have no way to do for you right now, being that I am not multilingual.
So we're going to continue the process of finding out about it, right?
Yeah.
I nominate Sherry to find out at the conference.
Why I gotta do it?
No, you told
Because
me.
you did, you're the reason why you brought this to our attention.
Ah, there we go.
So thank you for bringing it to our
You're
attention.
quite welcome.
And thank you, Ben.
Sure.
Thanks, Ben. Good job, Ben. Give us more water.
Thank you, Mr. Ben.
No, this is.
All right, next item is item D, request to use unimproved right-of-way. Mayor Smith?
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna yield my time to Josh.
Okay. I'm glad Josh knew that.
The council has been asked, good evening. The council's been asked to grant permission to use the right-of-way at the end of 7th Avenue, which is an unimproved street known as Redwood Lane Northeast. In the past, we have granted use of that right-of-way to reach a property on the north side of 7th Avenue. Really, that's the only access that this property owner has to that. So they're asking the council basically to grant that right-of-way. If you'll look behind you on that screen, you can see what he's asking. And this is not for development of the property, it's just to get to that, access his property there.
You ever when you do a driveway or street there, you'd have to come back to us, and it had to be done to our specifications and so forth.
Any questions for Josh? Any concerns?
Go down 7, go off the cul-de-sac, go up and pull around.
It is pretty limited too, if you, I think you've got that mailed out to, or emailed to you, what he can do with that. You can't go in there and start clearing it off.
Is that file name of any significance?
What's that?
The file name, I mean, I was in the file itself is saved as Laura Lane.pdf, it just happens to be the street I live on.
And this is temporary, right?
No, it was allowing the owner to access the
Yeah,
land.
I mean, that's
There's
a
not
street that's off of 7, but I
Yeah.
mean, there's no relation, I don't, just seems,
No, that,
seems arbitrary, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean,
He's purchased some property behind him that he does not have access to.
yeah, I'm down 7 there, but so I saw that file name and kind of,
I think that's where I started out when I looked that up.
gotcha,
That's where I was at,
gotcha.
trying to figure
Well,
out.
I mean, because eventually where that connects to that comes
Yeah,
back over.
that's, I believe when I was,
It's just access, it's not to build anything, it's just because we build.
Are they,
It is a
the
proposed
people
road
that own
anyway.
where the red line goes, are they good with him putting a
it's
road?
a city right-of-way. That
Yeah,
The
red-
whole
They know
area
it's
is
not.
city right away.
It
that
is.
Redwood
So
Lane.
we're approving for the whole shooting match. Okay.
And again, on your,
Tim Shatter did
it's just for a driveway, minimum will be cut, maximum 10 foot wide.
Tim.
I don't think it this doesn't fall under the planning commission's purview.
No, it's a city property.
City properties.
What happens if we don't agree to it? What does he do then?
I mean,
Really, at that point, it would become an issue. He's got to be able to get to his property.
yeah, you
somewhere.
gotta
We
provide.
can't
access.
deny him a right.
The issue would be, we could make him make a city street back there.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
Okay.
I always
Just
want to do is
question.
get to his property. Again, if he goes to development, there will have to be a street built.
It's just wooded here. Okay.
Anything else?
I'm good.
Josh?
That's it right now.
As far as that is not on the agenda, correct?
I have it ready to add it, don't add it.
Are we comfortable enough with the information, or do we need more information? I mean, I don't think there's actually a time limit on this. If you need more information, I guess we could.
I'm
find it.
good. Richard, I mean, as far as the city, are we covered doing it? Yeah, we covered. You know, we have an attorney
roof
that
over
tries to
your
keep us out of jail.
I'm
very comfortable that you won't go to jail. I hope you don't lose $1 million in the process.
Ooh.
The ice cream and gel.
It's yours, it's yours to control and it's yours to restrict however much use you want to grant to this particular petition. So, I think you're covered.
That'll make progress start. On the
Good,
project.
good. So okay, we go ahead and add it to the agenda? You good with adding it to the agenda? Or you wanna wait? You want, you want to wait and add it till next time?
Yeah.
We're gonna wait, not add it to the agenda tonight. We'll maybe
Thank you,
find out some
Craig.
more information and we'll get back next
Yeah.
meeting.
Again, just let me know.
Sure.
What you need.
You too? You good with that?
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, as far as I know, there was not a time request on this, was it not? I mean,
No,
nothing-
it's good.
Yeah.
And I did not see that spelled out that's in that agenda packet, but I saw it somewhere, I felt like. I don't know if Patty, I did not see it spelled out in the agenda packet. I saw the plat that's on there, but not the line.
What he was referring to was the letter, and I did not send the letter out.
Gotcha.
Um,
Maybe
I can,
that would be helpful, I think, to have too.
maybe send out the section that says what it's,
That would be helpful, yeah.
what it will be clear that they can do. Once all of that.
Maybe I was thinking of something where we were looking at right of way recently.
His property's in front of it, so I think there's a right of way there, and there's no way he could cut a road through his property. Yep. That's the only way he could cut a road through it, or ordinance. Way I understand it, I could be wrong.
Can you just send that part out to us, because I mean, if we're not gonna vote it tonight, might as well send it out to us later on.
Yeah, you can.
Go forward.
Okay, I will.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we finished with that one?
Yes, sir.
So good.
I'm happy.
All right, item E is any other business, Mayor?
Yes, I have Mr. James Etchers here was not to report the audit to you. So James, we'll turn it over to you.
Welcome, sir.
My understanding is I'm going to be presenting 2 audits tonight
Yes.
Yes, sir.
for the city and for the water department. I'm going to start with the city, and we can talk about it. The water won't be quite as long as the city. Pardon me, I have to take my glasses off so I can read. It's a shame when you get that old. But if you'll go to your audit reports there, and about 20 pages in, you will find page 1 for the city's audit. And this is the independent auditor's report. When I come here, I enjoy reading our opinion because it generally is a good opinion for y'all's financial statements. But on page 1, the second paragraph is our opinion. The auditor's opinion is, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of governmental activities, each major fund, the aggregate remaining fund information for the city of Jacksonville, Alabama as of and for the year ended September 30th, 2024, and the respective changes in financial position and where applicable, cash flows thereof for the year then ended in accordance with the accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. That's, in our business, we call that an unqualified opinion. That means that we've tested these numbers that are in this packet, and they are materially correct. Now let's turn to page 5. This is your statement of net position. This, in our industry, we call them government-wide statements. At the top of it, you have your assets, starting with your most liquid asset of cash, all the way down to your total assets. Then we have the deferred outflows of resources section, making your total assets and deferred outflows and resources, which is $52,151,252. The majority of that is up there in your capital assets, which is $27,194,537. The next section of your statement of net position is your liabilities. And you have your most current liabilities at the top of this section. As you go down further, you get into the long-term or more than 1 year liabilities. The total liabilities is $38,281,872. And then we have that section there that's deferred inflows of resources, which is $179,000, making your total liabilities and deferred inflows of resources of $38,460,913. Your next section is your what is called the net position. That's your equity. It's that the city has, and your total equity is $13,690,339 at the end of the year. I'm going over these real fast. If y'all have any questions, just stop and ask. Let's turn to the next page, which is your statement of activities for the year. And on this particular statement, you'll find it's your left-hand column is your expense column, and they have it broke out according to the different activity. Your public protection, public works, health and social services, culture, recreation, and other boards and agencies, and interest and fiscal charges. Your total expenses for the year was $23,514,417. The next three columns to the right of that is your program revenues, and then capital grants and contributions. Your fees, fines, and charges for services was $3,831,310. Then you had some operating grants and contributions of $146,000, and you had capital grant contributions of a little bit better than $1.5 million. Then when you get over to the next column where it says governmental activities, if you look down in the bottom section of this page, you'll see the general revenues, your taxes and your business licenses, amortization income, and gains, losses, and miscellaneous income. The total is $18,744,630, which gives you a positive change in net position of $767,169. And if you were a for-profit business, that would be your profit. That's where your gains is better than your losses. Now, I'm going to ask you to turn toward the back of this packet to page 60. Because we do the audit as under government auditing standards, we have to issue a couple more reports. This first one here has a long name on it. It's the Independent Auditor's Report on Internal Control over Financial Reporting and on Compliance and Other Matters based on an audit of financial statements performed in accordance with government auditing standards. And if you'll turn to page 62, let's go to 61 first, I'm sorry. The first paragraph on this page we indicate that during our audit, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be a material weakness. However, there could be material weaknesses that exist that have not been identified. Bottom line is we didn't find anything to report to the council concerning your internal controls this year. And then let's turn to the next page. This is the third report that we have to talk about. It's the independent auditor's report on compliance for each major program and on internal control over compliance required by the uniform guidance. This is required if you expend more than $750,000 in federal money in a year's time. And the second paragraph here is our opinion. In our opinion, the City of Jacksonville, Alabama complied in all material respects with the types of compliance requirements referred to above that could have a direct and material effect on each of its major federal programs for the year then ended September 30th, 2024. That tells you that we looked through your federal dollars expended, and this year we found no reason to have a finding. And if you'll look, there's one other thing that I wanted to point out. That's on the last page, on page 69. In the 23 audit, if you recall, we did have a finding that had to do with subrecipient monitoring. We talked about that. But what I want to point out is down at the bottom of that. Am I out of time? Okay.
Are we out of money?
No, he said we were.
But the status says that the situation was corrected. So for the city, that's a good audit again this year. That's why I enjoy coming here. Does anybody have any questions? I went through about 80 pages real fast, though.
We just appreciate it. It's all good news.
Yes.
Well, I tell you that the staff really works well with my crew to make sure that we're able to do that every year. You know, over the years that we've been here, there's been numerous questions asked of us on our opinion on which way a certain something should be done. You know, we would rather take a 5-minute phone call and your staff here do it correct than we would finding something wrong and having to have a finding.
Thanks for answering your phone. For when we call.
Well, I think everybody from the mayor on down has called my cell phone over the years to ask a question, and I'm never gonna, now I'm not gonna say that I'm always right with my suggestion or answer, but I'm willing to give it my best shot. Y'all ready for the second one here, the Waterworks Gas and Sewer Board?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go to page 1. And you'll find on the page 1, second paragraph, is our opinion. But I'm going to shortcut it this time. I'm going to tell you it's the same opinion that we issued for the city, except for we put Jacksonville Waterworks Gas and Sewer Board in there instead of the City of Jacksonville. It's an unqualified opinion. And turn to page 5. This is now on the Waterworks Gas and Sewer Board. This is a proprietary fund, so we call this a balance sheet instead of a statement of net position. Now on it, it has the current assets at the top, then restricted assets, utility, plant, and equipment in the middle, and other assets at the bottom, and those deferred outflows of resources. And this particular statement here has 2 years. The 23rd year is on the right-hand side. The 24 year is on the left-hand side. You will see that your total current assets stayed pretty constant, went from 3.9 million to 3.8 million. The biggest change in it was your natural gas went from 270,000 down to 191. Your cash and investments, your restricted assets went from 4 million down to 2.2 million. But that's not a bad thing. That was the work on that they were putting in on the system. So that money went from an investment account or a restricted cash account into upgrades on the system and extensions on the system. The largest thing they built was in the next section down, the utility plant and equipment. You see buildings and parking lot is the second item there. They went from just a tad under 42,000 to a little over 2 million. That's where most of that money went, is in that construction there. And so your total assets at the end of 24 was 27,381,087. And then you had this deferred loss on bond refunding of 121,000. So your total assets at the end of the year, assets and deferred outflows was 27,502,590. And I'm going to speed this up and slide us over to page 7. This is your statements of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund net assets for the years ended September 30th, 2024 and 23. Again, your columns, your right-hand column is the 23 year, your left-hand column is 24 year. Your revenues, operating revenues increased from 5.4 million to 6 million. And that was the full year of that rate increase that y'all done that was done in the past. Your operating expenses went from 4.5 million to 4.9 million. An increase which the majority of that was going to be found in your general and administrative expenses. Your change in net assets, which is, again, if you do in layman's terms, it's a profit, went from 637,000 to 1,727,734. A significant increase. Anybody have any questions so far? Well, I'm going to jump way over to the back, page 30. And this is that independent auditor's report on internal controls over financial reporting and on compliance and other matters based on an audit of financial statements performed in accordance with government auditing standards. The last part of the second paragraph, we indicate again that during our audit, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses. However, material weaknesses may exist that have not been identified. We always put that caveat in there because as a auditor told me a long time ago, nobody can afford us to look at everything. Any questions?
Any questions?
What about this insert? Is that, comments on accounting procedures, internal control, and related matters?
Yes, if that is our communications that, and the reason we do that is we can put things in there that doesn't have to be reported in the report. That's for management and for the council to see. And pretty much the only thing I think you'll find in there is going to be segregation of duties.
Okay.
And I think we've discussed that before with the council. Cost benefit, with the oversight that y'all have here, it's not necessary.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Raker. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Always like seeing you when it's a good report.
Well, I hope I don't have to bring the bad report. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other business?
Very good.
I think that's Rob.
Good evening.
Hello, Rob.
So came to talk to you about a unsafe structure located at 307 Alexandria Road Southwest. I think anybody that's been down Alexandria probably knows about the house that burned down. We posted that property January, tried to get in touch with some of the owners of the property. I did talk to one of them. He's not in a situation where he can do anything about the property. So I think it's going to be up to us to have to clean that property up for the citizens. I think, Ms. Grant, do you have, this is where the property is located at on Alexandria. I posted this property on this wall. It's supposed to be within 3 feet of the front door. That wall fell. So I had to repost it on a tree as close as I could get to it. Just, it's so unsafe. I'm really afraid that children might go over there, and I would hate for somebody to get hurt on that property. This is kind of the back of the property that we had another building caught on fire. It might have been in the January, beginning of the following month. So what I did is I got some prices from a few people that do demolition cleanup and sent it to you. I'd like to go with the one that was $8,500.
No, get rid of it all. I mean, that's Rob, I don't think so.
Can Stanley's group not go in there with that equipment they've got and clean that up? Well, I'm just asking.
I don't know.
Do we have equipment that would?
Ma'am?
Do we have equipment that would?
Yeah, they got equipment to tear that thing all down. Mayor, is that into the?
No problem without them tearing it down, taking it up. The problem is with asbestos.
Oh. Is there asbestos in that thing?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's not really a structure anymore. It's less of a demo and more of a cleanup. The materials are already on the ground. We simply just need to get it off the property. And
So 8,000. Well, I agreed. It definitely needs to be cleaned up.
Yes,
The
it
sooner the
does.
better.
And that's actually two separate, like I said, two separate structures, or was two separate structures, or even a
Well,
third
there's
structure
actually-
counting the
yes, sir.
thing in the back.
there's the main structure and then two accessory structures behind it, and one of the accessory structures caught on fire again. So that individual, I believe, has been moved out of there and is somewhere else.
What's your check, Stanley, so you can figure out about it?
I think, would it be
Yeah, I would
due
try.
diligence and just sign out what's in there and what Stanley can do? Cause that'd be $8,000 we could put on another house that needs to be torn down.
I can check that.
On the different instances. I think that's what I'd like. I don't know how everybody else feels.
Yeah, I mean, according to whatever the environmental issues is and things like that, if we can do it internally, I think that would be of the better option. It might be, we have to look elsewhere.
I'm looking at timing also. the quicker the
I
better.
was as well because, you know, this is something that needs to happen sooner than later. I mean, I can call Stanley up in the morning and just speak with him, see what he thinks about it, what their timing is. The person I talked to, he was about 2 weeks out. He's doing some houses in Anniston. So it's going to be about a 3 or 4 day turnaround if a company that does it. I don't really know about Stanley's crew and what they have, what that'll take away from.
For $8,000, I think it'd be well worth finding out if it can be, Stanley can do it.
To what level? It might not be
Yeah.
all of those.
If it's not, okay, let's get the guy for 8,000, but I hate to spend 8,000 when it's something that would be safe for everybody for Stanley to get in and get it out.
Would he be willing to let Stanley do some of it and then he come in and do the rest of it if he couldn't finish the job? Or he wants to do the whole project?
I couldn't answer for him because I didn't present that to him. As a matter of fact, I told everybody that I wanted them to cover the whole cost of the project.
All right, but this is,
Probably have to ask for quotes the second time if Stanley did part of it to receive quotes for whatever remaining is left and then go from there on out.
And there again, we're extending it out more and more as we're trying to
well,
kind
look,
of
if
figure
Stanley, if you
out.
talk to Stanley in the morning, he said, yeah, I can do it. Bam, he may be over there Thursday morning or something to do it. He may shoot me before, he may shoot me before I said that.
Because it does look bad.
Yeah.
Is there any way we could put verbiage in this to, go ahead and approve this contingents on what we find out from Stanley? Cause I hate for us to wait and come back 2 weeks from now, cause it's not on the agenda tonight anyway.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
It's on the amendment. Yeah.
It was good.
A resolution to approve.
Oh, we gotta do all that.
Yep. Because it's.
Granting permission.
So, I mean, we can wait till the next meeting.
I hate to do it. Can we not change the verbiage in what you've got written? That is, if Stanley can do it, fine. If not, then we, go with your 8,000.
It's a resolution. Couldn't do it. I'll be honest.
Oh,
We're gonna get a lot of phone calls if we put Stanley on something's gotta get cleaned up quick, because he's gonna be not able to do the rest of the work that he's only has to do, so. But, I don't know, could the verbiage be changed in the resolution? I don't know. The resolution doesn't state who it's elected. Say the amount.
So it'd be a workload issue.
Because if Stanley's got it, they would take him away from.
Well, if there's an issue with timing at this juncture, perhaps this is one of those future, you know, hopefully there's never any properties that have to go through, public nuisance. I mean, really, that would be the ideal, but that if there are, that we check with our own public works, to determine what level and scope they can provide, what they can provide.
Chief, is the occupant that was there, has he been removed and?
Still, maybe still receiving treatment.
That's another issue. What if they receive the treatment and they're released and then they start homesteading on that property again?
Oh, I know, yeah. Yeah, that's part of delaying. I mean, it's.
They're saying we can't do it the way the verbiage is. What do y'all think? If you've read by it, you know how horrible it is. As Andy said, I don't want to speak for Andy, but Andy said, could this be a learning opportunity for us all, that if we have this situation again, find out from Stanley first so you can get to it.
I mean, I'm not gonna try to provide any parallel, but public safety tries to provide what they can first and foremost before they rely on an outside contract. But sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes you say, you know what, we didn't have the manpower, the personnel, the equipment, there's mutual aid or whatever it might be, but in this case, it's, I mean, we might not be equipped to handle some, or all of it, but maybe some of it.
And Rob, I guess my question on it would be, you know, when I look at the cost for the 11,101, the cost of hauling off the deep debris was 5,500. I'm wondering, this guy didn't work out a cost as to how much is it to haul off, because if Stanley could put it in the landfill, then maybe that's the bigger portion.
Does he know
of the
anybody at
cost.
the landfill?
Pardon?
Do we know anybody at the landfill?
Be careful, but it's not in our landfill though, because we don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this could, yeah, I don't think this could.
So this guy said 8,000 is cleaned up and it's over.
85.
Hey,
Sure.
Getting a separate contractor, especially on single-family homes, you tend to not have to deal with the environmental stuff. When it comes to just single-family homes, when we use our own contractor, or when we use ourselves, sometimes you could possibly run into that problem. So then you could go, if you did run into that problem, it could be like on Sixth Avenue, where you go from a $20,000 demo to a $60,000 demo.
No good deed.
So is everyone comfortable with moving forward as is, or do we want to wait?
let's go on, let's get it done.
I'm comfortable to move forward, but I think we
Yeah.
do wanna, as Josh has brought up, there's those things that I think we need to determine what's under our scope and purview that might reduce cost. And, you know, again, utilize the expertise of our people, not pull them away from other jobs, but be aware that, hey, this might be something that is, again, my hope is that you never have another nuisance property. We don't want any of those. I mean, but if you know of something that's coming up on the radar, it's that, hey, start checking on all those things before you get to, an RFP for anybody to do the work.
So he said 2 weeks before he gets started?
He didn't have an exact date, but yes, he said.
How much is the next bid?
It's
And how soon can they start?
9,500.
And then 11-1, yeah.
And he said that the 31st, between the 31st and the 1st of April.
Well, that'd be Monday.
Your resolution doesn't have a cost or a person that
Okay, it's just a.
So we just
a-
approving it going.
declaring it a nuisance and stating that it needs to be taken care of.
So let's move forward.
Once the decision is made, which contractor or how you're going to do it, then it will have to be, you will have to agree.
Well, yeah, we can just approve it and then
Yes.
the mayor and, Rob can decide what to do. It needs to go. That's really
It's really bad. I mean, I was really pushing to get this, wait my 30 days, wait for the next council meeting afterwards. And, you know, we get a lot of phone calls.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure have. So,
And Josh wanted me to remind y'all that we will put a lien on the property,
Oh, yeah.
so.
That's
Which
good.
already has a tax lien on it.
Yeah.
So let's move forward.
let's just move forward and let's go.
This one does say it can be accomplished with demolition by the city or by the use of its own forces, or it may be contracted out, so.
So will we have to come back next meeting and actually award the bid?
It's not bid, it's quote.
What? What?
But in order to spend the funds, since it's over $7,500, it will have to be, that will have to be.
All right. Anything else? Anything else? We good? All right, thank you, Rob. Is there any other business?
Yes, unless there is anything else. I have
Oh, yeah.
nothing else.
Hey, Green.
Hey, Green. Chief Wood, you wanna stand up? We all know that he is certifiable, but now he's certified. So some of you might be aware that Chief Wood has been on a long journey, but it's one that he has worked very hard. He received the designation that is through the Alabama Association of Chiefs of Police, which he's now past president of, or current president, I'm sorry, yeah, current president. But 240 plus hours, he probably exceeded that now after the winter conference, but 240 hours of training to be a certified law enforcement executive, which is the highest level of achievement that is awarded through that certified law enforcement executive program. It's a program that was developed by ACOP and the APOS, Alabama Peace Officers Training Standards Commission. And so back in February, Chief got presented with two certificates. One of these is from ACOP that indicates the Alabama Association of Chiefs of Police and the University Partnership of Alabama, of which Jackson State is one of those schools. We won't mention the other two when we're here, but hereby awards Marcus Wood the Certificate of Achievement in Police Management, achieving 240 hours. It was dated the 13th day of February, and that's signed. And so that's kind of what caught me there. I had Chief Irwin's signature on it, who was chief right before, or who was a president right before you.
Right, I think so.
That's, I guess that makes sense. So that's, I know that Edgar and such is going, but that's segregation of duties there, I guess. And so, but then I think one that's, they're both of value, certainly, but anyone who's been in law enforcement or knows Chief Benefield, who is the executive secretary for APOST in the state of Alabama, has a very nice letter here that's written to Chief Wood in recognition of his accomplishment attributed to his dedication in proving knowledge. I won't read that letter, but another certificate that is from APOST, from the Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission, issuing an award that's certifying that Marcus Wood completed the required course of instruction and is entitled to professional standing as a certified law enforcement executive. Now that is signed by Chief Benefield, who is a legend in Alabama law enforcement. And you now join the ranks of Assistant Chief Jason Oden, who is also a certified law enforcement executive. And I will tell you, because I worked with this program for a few years, it is rare to have an assistant chief and a chief both have that designation. So we oftentimes will approve in the consent agenda trainings and things like that. When they're going to training, there's a lot of those things that they're doing where they're not just going to training, but they're learning and being able to bring things and apply back. And I say, Chief, thank you for your dedication to achieving this, to reaching that benchmark, knowing that having you and Assistant Chief Oden both, having both of you having this designation is tremendous. These are your certificates. You gave them to me so I could read them. He can stand in front, maybe all of us.
You want to up on the Dios?
Oh, just another handshake one? Okay, we can do another.
Let's keep going on Dios with us.
We got to,
Yeah, it's coming up here.
It's a lot of time away from home, a lot of time away from family, especially when you got that new baby. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Gotcha.
It's a good one?
It is. You're Terry.
Make sure you got the filters. Terry said filters.
All right.
Now, that's all.
Let's have a boy. Okay.
I have one thing.
Sorry, nobody move. Thank you, my ninja skills.
Somebody tried to take you out.
I don't know about that.
What'd you do to the state of Alabama?
I think the chief set it up before he left.
Tony, before
We
you
didn't do
put
his
that-
ethics report yet.
Yes, sir.
I do have one thing to say. Congratulations to the chief, but also to tell him in front of everybody, does not mean automatic raise for either one.
Where everybody saw he was dressed up, said, "Oh, what's he here? What's he here doing?" But
When I
yeah.
first walked in, I thought, oh no, here goes no car.
No, he's not got
Well,
his class says on.
I will mention this. One of the things that, and I don't know what progress it has made, but with law enforcement insurance through AMIC, great representation with AMIC, but there were some efforts, and I think they might still be in, to, once your chief does hit a certain level of that 240, of reducing the premiums. Because a lot of that training that they go through, and you have your command staff who are going through these hours too, this risk management is helped tremendously. And so it might not be a raise for you, but it might be a raise for the budget eventually with less premiums of insurance. So.
Well, like I've always say, our chiefs are second to none, and the assistants. I put y'all up against anywhere where it's police or fire. We're very blessed, and we pray for y'all all the time.
Any other business? All right, I have had a request for a short break. We'll take a 5-minute break before we get started on the actual council meeting. Thank you all. Would you give us 5 minutes? Call this meeting back to order and move on to item 7 is the adoption of the minutes.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item 8 is the adoption of the agenda. I think we have some additions.
And we do, to the main agenda, add item 9A, public hearing to hear the objections to the finding that the following property constitutes a public nuisance: 307 Alexandria Road Southwest, Jacksonville, Alabama. Also to the main agenda, add item 9B, consideration of resolution number R-2242-25, declaring the structure located at 307 Alexandria Road Southwest, Jacksonville, Alabama, 36265, tax parcel number 12-06-14-2-002-09.000 to be unsafe to the extent of being a public nuisance and ordering the structure to be demolished. Then to the main agenda, add item 13A, consider action to accept the FY 2024 general fund audit as presented by Egger and Associates per the attached. To the main agenda, add item 13B, consider action to accept the FY 2024 Waterworks Gas and Sewer Board audit as presented by Egger and Associates per the attached.
Thank you, ma'am. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as
So
amended?
moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item 9 is public comments concerning any agenda item. This is your opportunity to come address the council for anything that's currently on the agenda. If you do so, please state your name, address, and give it to the city clerk before you leave. Okay.
It's number 11, I guess there's number 10, but. My name's Caroline Wellesley, and this is my daughter Elise Savage. And our family owns the farm that is adjacent to the property that is being, has been bought by the Baptist Church. So we're going to be neighbors. And I'm a little bit confused about number 11 because I know that the church property, at least for now, is in the county, and our land next to it, most of it's in the city. So when they're talking about this road that they're bringing in, I don't know if y'all are not really approving like the church architecture or anything, which has nothing to do with us. We're more interested in things that might be affected in the future, like how many places people would be able to cross the trail. Sorry, we have our field road comes out, and there's a paved median right there, and so we would like to have where we can go in and out on that median on that road. And we've had a bumpy time with the church, but we're trying our best. We really want to work something out and be good neighbors and all that. But I would like for somebody to tell us things like, you know, we don't really know how many crossings would be allowed on the trail, or if this road that they're asking for is, you know, is there exiting and entering, or are there two separate ways to come and go? Anyway, we just need information. We have questions, yeah.
Make sure you have your name, and make sure they have your name and address on there. We don't normally respond to public comments, but we'll have an opportunity to maybe explain some more when it comes up for a vote. If you want. Is there anyone else like to address the council? Seeing no one come forward, move on to item 9A.
Public hearing to hear the objections to the finding that the following property constitutes a public nuisance: 307 Alexandria Road Southwest, Jacksonville, Alabama, 36265.
I'll now declare that public hearing open. Anyone that has anything they would like to state, any kind of statement like to make on this public hearing, this is the time to do so. Just come up to the podium, state your name and address, and make sure you get to the city clerk. Seeing no one come forward, we'll close the hearing. Item 9B.
Consideration of resolution number R-2242-25, declaring the structure located at 307 Alexandria Road Southwest, Jacksonville, Alabama, 36265, tax parcel number 12-06-14-2-002-019.000 to be unsafe to the extent of being a public nuisance and ordering the structure to be demolished.
We have to read that resolution.
So moved.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item 11.
Consideration of ordinance number 0-666-25, amending chapter 9, election section 9-9, compensation for municipal poll officials of the city code of Jacksonville, Alabama, first reading.
All right, that is the first reading, so there's no action we have to take, so now we'll move on to item 11.
Consideration of resolution number R-2241-25, granting permission to the First Baptist Church in Jacksonville to build a driveway across a portion of the Chief Medina Trail at 1510 Alabama Highway 21, North, Jacksonville, Alabama, 36265, for access to the proposed site of the new First Baptist Church of Jacksonville at the location.
All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? I would just like to share from it, my understanding is all we're doing is providing access to the part of the trail that we manage, that we maintain. We don't, as far as plans and actions and distances and architecture, we don't know. We're just allowing them.
Sorry, do you know there's a certain amount of accesses across the trail that are allowed just in general? Or how many feet they have to be from each other and that kind of thing in general? Are there any things like that happening for the
See,
trail?
the county themselves actually is what I would consider the ownership of the trail. We're just responsible for the maintenance of that, or our particular section, so we're just like allowing them to do that. I believe you won't have any questions, take it up to the county commission, possibly.
Have that diagram up there.
Yeah, that's where they're looking at possible fading. That is something, I forgot the mayor's had that and set that out. I don't know if you can see that. That's where they're, if you want to come closer to look at the monitor, that's where we're, yeah. That's where they're proposing the access, coming off 21. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what it is.
I just want to make sure that I'm safe and that we can still use it.
Is there any other discussion?
Call question.
All right. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 12.
Consider action to approve JPWP number 25-134, construction of pole barn at Public Safety Complex per the attached.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 13.
Consider action to terminate the MOU for automatic aid agreement between the City of Jacksonville and the City of Weaver, effective May 31, 2025, per the attached.
So moved. I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, I'm sorry.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
I was saying, just wanted to discuss, I got a motion and a second, any
Okay,
discussion?
I was just wondering
On
what
13.
the MOU,
We have a memorandum of understanding with the City of Weaver that we have an automatic aid agreement. That means anytime
Okay.
they have a call, we
Yeah.
get the call at the
Okay.
exact same time.
That's fine.
I believe we're trying to transition into a mutual aid type of agreement with them.
Okay, thank you.
Chief, anything to add?
I just, with our call volume and, it's impractical now for us to do it because our two ambulance are extremely busy and some days only have 8, 9 folks, so it's just not practical for us to do.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 13A.
Consider action to accept the FY 2024 general fund audit as presented by Egger and Associates per the attached.
So moved.
No motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 13B.
Consider action to accept the FY 2024 Waterworks Gas and Sewer Board audit as presented by Egger and Associates per the attached.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 14.
Consider action to approve Council President Tony Taylor as the voting delegate for the Alabama League of Municipalities Business Meeting on Thursday, May 15, 2025. Councilmember Sherry Laster as first alternate, and Councilmember Andrew Green at second alternate.
Third place,
Hey,
baby.
Green, third place. You're not first, you're last.
That's right. So moved.
I'll make a motion, we accept that.
You have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, I have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 15.
Congratulations before you go on.
Oh, thank you, yeah.
He'll represent us
I'm
well.
honored. Not to delete what you've done, you're what you've done, chief. I'm just,
We gotta get you a crown.
You're gonna be
Certificate up real
certified.
quick.
let's move on. Item 15.
Consider action to accept the resignation of the following. A is Charles Campbell, Utility Equipment Operator, effective March 14, 2025. And B is Madeline Lovell, Part-Time Police Communication Officer, effective March 10, 2025.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Consent agenda.
Item 16, budget amendments. Item 17, purchases over $7,500. Item 18, request to attend conference training sessions with cost exceeding $1,000. And item 19, boards and committees.
Do I have a motion to accept?
Second.
Do I have a motion?
Oh, I do it.
So, what do you want?
I'm motioning.
Motion, do I have a second? A motion. Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item 20 is public comments concerning any general item. If there's anyone in the crowd who'd like to address the council, this is your time to do so. For any general item, just state your name and address at the podium to make sure you give it to the city clerk before you leave. Seeing no one come forward, we'll move on to council member remarks. Anything, anyone?
I know the story came out, I don't remember if it was the economic update that Jack State does, and the city of Jacksonville got highlighted, got picked up a little bit for the economic growth that the city has experienced, tax base over the last year. I don't think there's anything, I mean, there's a lot that goes into that, but I am so proud to be a part of a city that is growth mindset, that is forward thinking, that tries to be as proactive as you can within the limitations we were talking earlier. There's some things that there's just bureaucracy, call it red tape, whatever you want to. I know that as I have connected with members of the community, and they've said, well, why doesn't this happen quicker? And it's just, well, there's laws that you have to go by, but there's a tremendous amount of momentum and energy that's happening here. I think Mayor Smith is to be commended for a lot of that leadership, and all the department heads across. Nothing that any of us could have done individually, but working with each of the council members. Brother Marcus Green down there, glad to have him on board. But for all those who've come before, that was so encouraging to read, that knowing that the city of Jacksonville is an economic engine that's in this region, and I'm grateful to be a part of the city of Jacksonville.
Well said. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would just like to add to, last Saturday with the storm and everybody preparing for it, and the sign of community, people to gather together, everybody, it was all hands on deck, and thank God nothing, no major incidents, nobody had major harm, but just the sign of community for everybody. I just want to say thank you as a city, and everybody that had their hands on deck.
I think it's always a special thank you to Bert for opening the storm shelter.
And staying there all day.
Yeah, she'll stay through the night if she needs to, won't you?
Miss Grant, we want spaghetti next time.
All right, smart.
Trust me, when I'm there, Assistant Chief is always there with me.
I have an
Almost
announcement.
backstrap next time.
Calhoun County Career Academy, we will have in their second annual career fair, and usually our departments will come, the fire and the police and any other department that would like to participate. We'd like to get some of these kids hired and working. So please pass the word. It is Friday, all day at the Career Academy. Public invited, yes. Yes, anybody, any business that are looking to hire, we'd love to have you.
Is there an age requirement?
Are you applying?
Don't need any rodeo clowns.
Okay, let's move on. I feel like I've lost total control. I've lost total control of it. I don't know. All right, if there's nothing else from the council, mayor's report.
Thank you very much. I don't know how to respond to any of that, so let's move on with a couple of announcements. Some upcoming things, Paul's in the Park, coming up April the 12th, 1 p.m., Germania Springs. So it's always, if you're a dog lover, that's a good time for all the people with the nice, pretty dogs to show up. Take Pride in Jacksonville Day, and we've talked about that quite a bit, just try to keep that in front of everybody. We don't forget Saturday, April the 19th. So make sure you put that on the calendar, be looking up all the stuff you need to get rid of. Good opportunity to do that. Free landfill day, all those kind of things. We seem to have trouble about people getting their garbage missed, and after the truck goes by, then they decide to put it out, and they don't understand. So encouraging folks, try to remember to get your cans out there, maybe even the night before if you get on a real early pickup, so you don't get missed. I think that's all I had. Bert, is there anything else? No, that was it. Thank y'all.
All right. Is there any other business that's come before the council? Seeing none, Ms. Burke, number 24.
Consider action to adjourn into an executive session under provisions of the Code of Alabama, section 36-25A-783A, to discuss with the attorney the legal ramifications of and legal options for pending litigation.
All right, motion? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Just as always, I'd like to make sure everyone knows that we will not be coming back into session after this. Thank you all for being here and have a good night. Roll call, please.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. A. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Ms. Laster?
Yes.
And Mr. Green?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all. We don't normally have this good of a